Okay, so we're going to continue with the January 2007. It's the foundation completion paper, N5 or NF, and this is paper 2. And we're going to continue on then with question 7. So if you'd like to have a look at there's 7A, B and C. If you have a look at that, and then we'll go through the answers in a minute. Okay, so let's look at question 7A. So the main bits of information I've circled here. Buying a TV, you can do it either for cash with one payment of £980, or you can do it in instalments. And if you do it the instalment way, you pay initially at the start, you pay £49 plus then 35 payments of £27.80 for each month for 35 months. And they want to know how much cheaper is the cash price. So the first step then is to calculate how much all these monthly payments cost. So we have 35 months, and every month it's £27.80. So you can use your calculator. That works out to be 35 times £27.80 is 973. Then you have to remember that there's an initial payment of £49. You've got to add that to the cost of all the instalments. So that becomes 973 add 49 is 1022. So that's the cost when you pay by instalments. Compare that to the cash price, which is 980. Subtract 1022, take away 980. So the cash price is £42 cheaper. 7B then, here we've got John has an hourly rate of pay, and there's an increase. It was £5.20, it's gone up to £5.42. And how much extra will he earn in a 40-hour week? So first of all, we calculate how much more does he earn for each hour. So it's £5.42, take away £5.20. So that's 22p or 0.22 pounds. So that's the extra amount every hour. So it's a 40-hour week. So we need to multiply that 22p by 40. And remember to write it in pounds. So the answer there is £8.80. Part C then, what have we got here? We've got Katie invests £2,400 for 2 years at 4% per annum. The PA stands for per annum, which is per year or each year, and they refer to simple interest. So they want you to calculate the amount after 2 years. So we remember simple interest is where you just work out how much extra interest they earn each year, and then you just multiply that amount by the number of years. So 4% interest on the amount that was invested, which was 2,400. So remember that 4% is 4 over 100, or 4 out of 100 multiplied by 2,400. So you can key that into your calculator as 4 divided by 100 multiplied by 2,400 is £96 interest earned. That's in 1 year, but they want it for 2 years. So with simple interest, we just multiply the £96 by 2, and we get a total there of £192. So that's the amount of interest, but they are asking here for the amount that the person, Katie, has after 2 years. So we have to add the 192 to the amount she started with, which is 2,400. So the answer is 2,592. Okay. Okay, now the next one's in question 7, 7D and 7D, and there's a part 1 and a part 2. If you have a look at that, we'll go through the answers in a few seconds. Okay, so question 7D, this is an exchange rate problem. So the information we're given is that this person changed £500 into Canadian dollars, and you're given the exchange rate. £1 is equal to 2 Canadian dollars. So we have to work out how many dollars should Lewis have received. So if you write down the exchange rate again, £1 equals 2 Canadian dollars, and he's changing £500. So we're going to multiply 500 multiplied by 2, and that's going to be 1,000 Canadian dollars. So in this case, we're changing pounds to Canadian dollars. We're multiplying by 2. The second part then, this is when he was in Canada, he bought a new baseball cap costing 23 Canadian dollars. So this time they're asking, what would this amount have been in pounds? So you need to remember this time we're going from Canadian dollars back to pounds. So we're going in the opposite direction. So this time we're going to have to divide by 2. So 23 Canadian dollars divided by 2 gives us the answer £11.50. Okay, this is question 8A, B and C. You have a look at that, just stop the video and then we'll go through the answer in a moment. Okay, for question 8A here, what's the order of rotational symmetry of the star shown above? Hopefully you remember that rotational symmetry is the number of times the shape fits on top of itself when it turns through 360 degrees. So you may be able to just identify that that's got rotational symmetry of order 6, but if you want to, you can use tracing paper, trace the shape, put a mark on the top there, and whenever you hold the tracing paper in the center and rotate it, hopefully you can see that it will fit on top of itself as the shape goes round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back to where it started, 6. So it fitted on top of itself 6 times when it went round through a complete circle, 360 degrees. Part B, which shape has a rotational symmetry of order 4? So we need a shape here that's going to fit on top of itself 4 times. Obviously there's various shapes there: rectangle, square, rhombus, parallelogram, trapezium. The only one that has rotational symmetry of order 4 is the square. Again, you can check it with a tracing paper. Part C, name a 4-sided shape with rotational symmetry of order 2. So again, if you do little sketches of those different 4-sided shapes, then you can try them. The square has order of rotational symmetry 4, so it's not included. But if you try the rectangle, the rhombus, and the parallelogram, there are 3 possible answers, so any one of them will get you the mark. Okay, so this is 8D, and we're given a diagram here with these 2 shapes here, and we're asked to draw 2 more of these shapes on the grid so that the diagram will have rotational symmetry of order 4. So again, we can use tracing paper to trace the shape, hold the tracing paper at the center of the grid, and then rotate round until the shape lands on top of itself 4 times. So there's that shape there. We're going to hold that tracing paper in the center. We move it around 90 degrees. The shape lands on top of that shape that was there already. Another 90 degrees. Then we're able to draw that shape on the grid underneath. And then the final position then is another 90 degrees further on. So we end up with the final shape as shown there, and that has a rotational symmetry of order 4 because it fits on top of itself 4 times when it rotates through 360 degrees. Okay, so there's question 10. If you'd like to have a go at that, and we'll go through it in a few seconds. Okay, so question 10A here, we're given some information, a recipe, and the ingredients in the recipe here are enough to make 24 tray bakes. That's a type of biscuit. And then the question says Jane wishes to make 30 tray bakes, 30 of the biscuits. So how much margarine and icing sugar will she require? So these are the two things that we're interested in, margarine and icing sugar. So let's look at the margarine first. So one way to do this is we can write out the fact that 24 biscuits, these tray bakes, need 112 grams of margarine. So one method of doing this is then to work out how much would one biscuit need. So if that was 24, one biscuit is going to be 112 grams divided by 24. And then we can work that out, or we can just leave it like that, because then the next line is we want to work out what 30 biscuits are going to need. So it's going to be 30 biscuits needs that answer there, 112 divided by 24, but now we have to multiply that by 30 to get 30 biscuits, and we get our answer 140 grams. Let's just check if that makes sense. So 30 biscuits is a bit more than 24 biscuits, so the answer we expect to be bigger, and 140 grams is definitely bigger than 112 grams. Okay, so the second thing then is how much, the second item was icing sugar, so we're going to look at the icing sugar quantities. So again, the recipe says that 24 of these biscuits need 176 grams of icing sugar. So how much would one biscuit need? We're going to have to divide that amount by 24. So that's 176 divided by 24. And we can work that out or just leave it like that for a moment. So then 30 biscuits is going to be 30 times that answer there, which is 176 divided by 24 multiplied by 30 is 220 grams of icing sugar. Okay, so for part B then, how many tray bakes would require 168 grams? So this time we're told that 168 grams of cream. So let's look on the recipe here. We're told 224 grams of cream does enough for 24 biscuits. So again, we could work out how much would 1 gram of cream do. So again, we're going to divide by 224, so it's going to be 24 divided by 224. So that's what 1 gram does. But we want to know how many does 168 grams do. So we're going to have to multiply that answer there by 168, and that gives us our answer 18 biscuits. There is an alternative way to think of this here. Rather than working out back to what one item is, we can see there's a slightly different solution here. 224 grams of cream does 24 biscuits, so 168 grams of cream will only do a fraction of 24, so it's going to be less than 24. So what is that fraction? It's 168 over 224. That's the fraction that we have to work out. So we're going to work out that fraction of 24, which is 168 divided by 224 multiplied by 24, and that gives us our answer 18 biscuits, which is obviously the same as we got before.